a lot of people don't respect artists, and I think a lot of times the artists aren't respecting themselves.
Well, how did you get that opportunity and I didn't?
And you're getting the thing I want. You're on the stage I want. I played the game. You didn't play the game. Why are you getting the...
Since we're here.
Let's go.
Since we're here, okay.
Donte.
What's going on?
Are you a poet?
Who knows? Who knows, man? Let me start off by saying I consider myself to be a storyteller. That's what I find most comfort in telling people when they ask me what I do, because I utilize different mediums to tell stories. That is from video to photography to writing to speaking. It's something that I've always done, but I believe I'm starting to slowly get into and embrace a bit more, is poetry, which is another form of storytelling for me. So I'm thinking...
I was gonna say it sounds like a no. No, I'm just
I
kidding.
mean, it's because it's so many ups and downs, thoughts,
right,
feelings, and things and whatnot that has brought me to this point. Is it okay if I go ahead and get into?
Let's talk about it.
So okay,
Donte, why are we here?
So we're here today because originally we were talking about artists and like finding just respect for them, people loving art but not respecting artists. And I think it kind of ties into this concept and things that I want to discuss today, where I'll be kind of using myself as an example as someone that has grown to begin embracing a title or a label that I didn't always embrace for multiple reasons. So when it comes to a poet, there's this imagery of a person that is so gifted, and I'm speaking as myself, a person that is so gifted and talented and has the deepest understanding of how to put words together and can move a crowd of people and can touch people's hearts, and doing it in a specific way where it's almost like, how did this human being come up with this group of words, and they're able to communicate and connect with a crowd of people that want to read what they have, want to listen to what they say, and trust them with words. That's always been my idea of a poet. I've always wrote, but when I write, it's 100% just for me. I never thought about writing for anyone to actually listen to what it is that I've written. I'm strictly 100% emotion. I'm addressing how I feel and what I'm thinking, and when I'm finished writing, that's it. Yeah. For me, there's never been another stage of poetry beyond that. To this day, I genuinely don't have a deep interest to showcase what it is that I write. I'm not interested in performing. I don't have an issue with it. I'm not against it, but I don't feel like I've arrived, or I don't feel like I'm doing anything more than what I intended to do after I wrote what I felt in my spirit and I got it out of me. It's like my internal therapy. Mm-hmm. I have no issue with sharing what it is that I've shared, but another reason too, I've been around lots of poets in Columbus. So I've been around lots of poets that had no idea, to this day, have no idea that I even care about poetry like that, or dabble in poetry like that, right? Because people know me as one thing because I frequent spaces as that one thing. For example, I frequent a lot of the same spaces as a videographer. So people only know me as a videographer. I frequent spaces as a photographer, so they only know me as a photographer. I frequent certain spaces as an author, so people only know me as an author. So I've been around quite a few poets, and when I do poetry, I rhyme.
Get out.
That right there.
But after the interview.
Understood. So in lots of spaces, unbeknownst to people, I've heard people say, or, just get real bothered by a person that rhymes.
Oh, interesting.
Make comments about someone that has rhymed, made like talking about an open mic. I'm like, damn, an open mic. You upset with a person rhyming at a damn open mic? But just throughout the years, hearing people say that rhyming poets are like some of the most disgusting human beings on the planet. That's what I'm just saying. Like, I've seen people write dissertations online about rhyming poets. Like, don't do that. I've seen
Such
people
violent language. My God.
I've seen people make jokes about it. I've seen people just go in on poets that rhyme, right? So hearing different people talk about it, discuss it, and have their feelings about it, I thought to myself, well, obviously my poetry isn't welcome in the Columbus poetry scene.
Oh, wow.
So even though I don't have the desire to be in spaces and share what it is that I've written, there's genuinely no reason for me to ever want to, because my style of poetry and how it comes to me and how I present it, it's not welcome.
There's lots to unpack in all
That's
that.
why I say it. I'm like, we should get about an hour in, but yeah. So yeah, people hate poets that rhyme. That's something I learned because I'm not a poet enthusiast. You know, I've never been. I'm strictly emotional. I don't have any other attachment to poetry. But a poet enthusiast is like, that rhyming stuff is disgusting, bro.
It's so to kind of recap a couple of things. Just I like talking back things I'm told to make sure we're all on the same level, right? You're a person that traditionally has not really ventured into poetry as the form of expression.
Correct.
For yourself.
That is very correct. Yep.
And the times you have done it are leaning into a form of the art that others in the art aren't very appreciative of or don't
are disgusted by.
Are just literally disgusted
by it.
Yet, you are finding yourself getting some opportunities to bring your art into the world. My guess, and please correct me if I'm wrong, my guess is that this is happening in maybe some spaces that these other poets aren't getting.
Correct.
Fascinating, right?
Very. That's how it always happens for me, personally.
Right.
And if you have more,
eventually I want to get back to, because originally this all spurred from a social media post. You had posted online. Do you remember? I don't remember the exact phrasing it was.
I remember the exact phrasing where I said, artists, everyone loves art, but not everyone respects artists.
Yes. And I responded to that.
You did.
And you're like, we got to talk.
Let's sit down. Let's actually sit down. Let's make this happen. Let's not just let it go into the void of social media. Let's document this for everybody to hear.
Because I think what I added to that is that I think a lot of times, a lot of people don't respect artists, and I think a lot of times the artists aren't respecting themselves.
I agree.
In terms of living, and even in hearing you talk right now, you're not to a degree. You're not even.
We can unpack that more as time passes.
You want to do some childhood trauma stuff?
The
Who
thing
hurt you,
is, so for me, my thing is, and once again, this is not me trying to make it seem like, they don't like me. I genuinely heard people talk about this in a way where they're like, that is not what we consider to be poetry. That's not what we feel is an expression of hours and days worth of time looking at something that you're creating and putting out into the world as genuine poetry. I don't know why, because once again, I'm not a poet enthusiast. Right. I'm strictly emotion. So I've never dove that deep into why, but just being in Columbus, documenting things, showing up as a storyteller in a different form,
right,
while documenting poets, listening to conversations, looking at social media posts, seeing conversations that people are having in person and in different areas, that has always came up. So I'm just like, well, I know that obviously it wouldn't be something that people would be fond of if I began showing up and performing and rhyming. They be like, get your ass out.
In those spaces.
Yeah, in those spaces, yeah. In those spaces.
But you're being invited to stages
it's
that
happening.
That are larger than those spaces.
Yes.
And not to knock the local poetry shows and things like that.
Let me clarify.
It's larger in
it's
terms
not
of
about,
like audience size. It's a bigger audience.
This is 100% not about.
This is the question of better. This isn't also about better or worse. Like
and I think it all depends on what someone desires happens with their poetry. And for me, as I shared earlier, everything that I've been able to accomplish within my career as a videographer, photographer, a speaker, anything that on that list, it usually happens when I'm just embracing what it is that I do and I'm not giving too much thought into what others are thinking. When I'm not giving power to ideas and concepts and theories and trying to apply them to how I can be successful. It's when I just sit down and I do it and I move on to the next version of a new creation within that same realm of artistry. That is when I begin to see opportunities and success. And when it comes to the poetry, what is beginning to happen for me is I am being invited into spaces as a poet. Not as a videographer, a photographer, nothing of that nature. I don't even know why people are doing it, because some of these people have never heard me do a poem, or I've never said anything remotely close to me doing poetry.
So, question then: the place that where you're being invited to, they know who you are.
That is 100% correct. Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
So I'm starting to get something, and I don't know if this is the direction you want. The conversation
whatever direction you want to go.
So there's this idea from Seth Godin that like when you bring something new into the world, it doesn't have to be art, but a lot of times when you categorize it, people attach their own archetypes about that category onto it. If I tell you that I just made a jazz album, you have expectations of that and you're measuring it against jazz albums.
Correct.
Versus if I say, oh, I'm making like a jazz bluegrass album, suddenly all the ways I have to measure that shift. A lot of times in a smaller way because I don't always navigate that as much.
Right.
Versus if I just don't even identify it at all, that also can be problematic too, because people will just ignore it because they have nothing to attach it to.
Right.
It sounds to me like people are bringing you in almost, if we can imagine, I'm gonna throw this out and you can tell me if you feel like this is right or wrong. People are bringing you in because you're you. And they feel like you can also handle this additional capacity.
I believe so, yes.
Versus for a lot of poets, I think, like you're operating on, I am Donte. My genre is Donte. This is what Donte does.
Correct.
What a lot of poets are doing is I do poetry. And so it's getting lumped. We're operating on different levels. You know, right. People are bringing in Donte for Donte. People are bringing in poets for poets. So it's a different thing.
I agree.
So like the way I view it is, and I think this speaks to a lot of things that the verse is talking about, is that I imagine there could be poets out there who look at what's happening with what you're doing and seeing the opportunities you're getting with poems and be like, I've poeted longer than this dude. I understand more about language and syntax than this guy.
Yep.
I may have degrees or I've studied this stuff. I've read more poems and like the list goes on and on and on. Correct. And yet I'm in the room where this guy's on center stage. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm in the back. I'm not even with the VIP, or you know what I mean?
Real talk. No, yes, yeah.
But I think that if that is the thought process that someone has, I think we're missing the whole picture.
I agree. To touch on that, the reason I say storyteller and everything else is secondary is because you can go anywhere in the world as long as you can tell a story from beginning to middle to end. And if people can follow that, there's something that they may want to revisit again with you. You don't have to be the best ever at whatever it is you're involved in, but if people can see that you clearly have an understanding of how to grasp a concept and give it life through order, people will ask you to come back. That is what I apply to every opportunity that I've gotten. When it comes to the business that I get, being invited back, how I'm going to show up, I think to myself, what story am I going to tell? And how am I going to tell it? How do I talk to the crowd that is in front of me? And what's very ironic is I feel I could talk to any crowd except for the poetry crowd.
I mean, I would challenge. I believe you when you say that you believe that. I don't believe that, but I believe that you believe that.
I genuinely believe that.
I believe you genuinely believe that.
Yeah, I was like, yeah.
But you can talk to. No, that's not to say you can talk to them and they'll be happy, but you can talk to them. But there's a difference. But like it's interesting what you're talking about. As you were saying that a moment ago, I literally just wrote down on my notebook like how you name what you do determines how you're defined. So like, for instance, a lot of poets are not going to be able to get some opportunities because they say they're poets versus a lot of poets, if they said they were storytellers, they automatically suddenly become eligible for a whole other world.
Correct.
While not excluding poetry.
Correct.
It's the same thing, like, for instance, in the writing space, like 3 common genres are poetry, fiction, nonfiction. Nowadays, in a lot of programs, poetry gets swamped, fiction gets swamped, nonfiction, for the moment, tends to be a lot more limited.
Right.
But so much of poetry comes from nonfiction.
Correct.
You could write a nonfiction manuscript in the format of a poem.
Right.
Like if I'm an MFA student, or if I'm applying to MFA programs, I might actually literally just submit poems.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Because I say they're nonfiction, and I don't even need everyone to agree with me. I just need the right person to agree with me. Be like, yeah, that's not fiction. Come in my program.
Exactly.
And so this gets to it was one of the last questions you mentioned, but it gets to one of the central things you said is that who determines who's an artist?
Correct. And I feel like the reason I felt challenged by the identity of a poet is because I do think about how much work someone has put in, how much effort, how much studying.
Do you feel guilty?
Do I feel what?
Do you feel guilty? I'm not saying you should feel guilty or you shouldn't feel guilty.
I feel like a portion of me does and a portion of me doesn't.
That sounds more yes than no.
I always think about, but I also talk about why.
Not saying that you're not deserving.
Embrace it.
Yeah.
Because I'm not gonna. I've been through. I think we've all been through someone saying, "Well, how did you get that opportunity and I didn't?" Well, there's a lot of things that people are doing that we're not aware of. So just because you didn't see it doesn't mean it didn't happen. And in this situation, you can say I've excluded myself from the poetry scene. That doesn't mean I haven't done poetry in different spaces that people weren't aware of. So anyone could be actively doing something. It just may not be documented, or people may not be aware that it's happening. Yeah. Some people find themselves in spaces or groups and feel like everything revolves around this specific group or this space that we're in. Anything outside of this is not organic, and they find themselves trapped and feel that if something comes from the space that they're in, if an opportunity or a chance to elevate and grow comes from their space, they feel like, yeah, we actually, we're real, we're organic, we're making it happen. There is no one that is doing this the way we're doing it. I've witnessed a lot of people trap themselves in that space. There's nothing wrong with enjoying your space, your community, your group as you're growing and evolving, but you also isolate yourself. I don't isolate myself from anyone.
I'm a very big believer in systems.
Right.
Like, let's take a step away and let's talk about like a common system just to get everyone on the same page. Let's talk about weddings. Because yeah.
Let me open my drink.
So I'm just gonna throw some quick questions about weddings, and you tell me your answer. Okay.
I'm not married.
Okay. You don't have to be married to answer these. Okay. For a wedding, who stands next to the groom?
The wife.
Okay. What about on the other side?
The groom.
It's not a quiz.
Hold on, like I said, I don't know. Okay, who's the dude? The dude that the groom invited,
like the best man.
Yeah,
like
him. That's the name. Yeah, like my brain.
Okay, cool.
And then the bride is the bridesmaid,
cool.
right?
All right, yeah.
Yeah.
Look at you.
Yeah, I know.
You're so ready to get married. Ladies. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, cool. How many groomsmen do you think there should be?
Usually I see about five.
Okay,
6.
I'll throw out some more. 10? 20?
I mean, that's a lot.
Oh, interesting. So we're already getting, okay, cool. All right, so what do people usually do at a wedding? Like, let's say you do the ceremony, you have the dinner. What happens
after the dinner?
Yeah.
People get up, start talking, sharing their stories about the groom.
It's like toast and things like that. Yeah. What happens after that?
People dance.
Dancing.
After the dancing, the wife throw the bouquet.
Okay, cool. This is
Husband,
great.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's all usually relatively the same.
Do we go to the bowling alley? Why are you laughing?
For a wedding?
Yeah.
Probably on a very, very rare occasion. But the answer is no. No, we don't.
Do we sleep at the wedding venue?
Nah, we don't do that.
Oh, do we wear pajamas?
No.
What does the bride wear?
A dress, a gown.
She can wear a swimsuit, right?
Nah, she can't do that.
There's nothing physically stopping any of this from happening, right?
Facts.
There's nothing. You could do any of this at your wedding.
Right. You can if you want to. Yeah.
But the thing is that as soon as someone says wedding, they're already thinking these things. 5 groomsmen, 5 bridesmaids. We're going to have dinner. There's going to be toast. There's going to be dancing. Right. All of these things. We don't even think about it until it doesn't happen. And then we're like, well, wait, you go to a wedding, there's no dancing. It's like, what?
Yeah, what's wrong?
You know? Mm-hmm. You go to a wedding and the groom is there, but the bride's on Zoom. Right? So we have a lot of these systems in mind and we adhere to them. Mm-hmm. And the thing about a system is when you break from the system, a lot of times even just a little bit, the system fights back. Systems are living things. They want things to go away.
Facts, yeah.
And so with art, there's so many systems.
That's true.
There's so many systems. If I'm a poet, how do I poet? Mm-hmm. I don't do your route. No. Mm-hmm. I write my poems. Maybe I read poems. I go to my open mic. Maybe I get my MFA. Mm-hmm. There's a route you take.
Right.
You didn't take that route.
I did not.
You're a threat to me.
That is very
You're
possible.
bucking the system.
And
you're getting the thing You're bucking the system.
All right. So.
And you're getting the thing I want. You're on the stage I want. I played the game. You didn't play the game. Why are you getting the...
Since we're here.
Let's go.
Since we're here. Okay. That's my whole life. I'm self-taught in just about every creative aspect. I don't have degrees. I don't have letters behind my name. I don't have accolades. I have not been a part of incubation programs. People assume these things. It's strictly me. I have people that I've observed, people that I respect.
Can I pause you right there?
Go ahead.
They assume those things because they operate under the system, and everyone else in that system has those things.
Correct. And
so they don't even question it.
So this is as I was talking about the trap, I feel constrained going through that process because there's an idea of success and there's also an idea of failure. If you move up in the rankings and you get these letters behind your name, you get was it MFA?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, MFA. You perform at this venue. You get commissioned to do a poem here. You start to feel like that's success, or that's what people can perceive or feel like success is, right? For me, I enjoy the process of diving into my creativity with everything. I've never really set out to be the winner or the most successful or to be recognized more than someone else. I'm not even necessarily looking for respect for whatever it is I'm presenting in the moment. I just want to showcase whatever it is I create the way I felt was most necessary as I created it. I'm not a big fan of someone telling me how I'm supposed to do something.
Would you say your poems are aspects of storytelling?
Very much so, yes.
Okay. I want to get back to like the central post. Everyone loves artists. Yep. Not everyone respects artists. Mm-hmm. And I added on to that, especially artists. Let me come back to it. Let me turn on it because that camera's on that 30-minute thing. Second half hour.
Oh, you made it to 30 already? Damn. All right, yeah.
So we gotta go.
I told you, I was like, I think this conversation gonna, yeah.
Everyone loves artists, but not everyone respects artists, especially among artists. Yeah, that last part, mine. You talk to a lot of poets. The idea of living off poetry sounds absurd to poets.
Yeah,
that's just a problematic way of approaching it. If it's your art form, you can't live off. But again, that's another aspect of the system.
Correct.
Poets in the system don't live off poetry, right? And I think when you see poets that don't adhere to the system, I think of, for instance, I use her a lot. Sorry, Rupi Kaur, if you're familiar with Rupi. A lot of poets don't like her work.
Correct.
A lot of poets don't like her work. A lot of poets don't like the work of the poet who can fill the biggest auditoriums. You know?
That's interesting.
Right?
Yeah.
So, but why don't they respect her? Because she's not playing the game. She's adding those like illustrations and stuff like that. She's got kind of like the mass media poetry books. You know, she's got the social media stuff. You know, she's doing things that poets don't do. Correct. It's against the system.
Correct.
And what's her reward for that? Well, she brings more seats. She fills more seats than any other poet that you probably know of. And there's some poets in Columbus that fill a lot of seats.
That's true.
But she fills more.
It's quite a few gifted, amazing, crowd drawing people, in Columbus. Yes.
Not a lot, but there's a couple, right? There's a couple. From a poetry for a poetry.
So as someone that's not like deeply in the poetry community, that's a lot to me.
Got you.
One is a
okay.
One to me is a lot.
Okay, no.
To me, I'm just saying, I guess we're looking at it from a different perspective. But
so I think it gets back to that thing. Like if you're adhering to a system and you're seeing someone get the things you want in your industry without adhering to the system, I think a lot of times there's a feeling of animosity. It's a little negative, right?
Yeah.
I think some of it's rooting from jealousy. I think some of it's also rooted from Like, man, what if I had done that? Like regret over action. There's a lot of a lot of psychological stuff going on.
I think, I guess this isn't necessarily off track. Something I also understand and comprehend is business.
Yeah.
I've had to figure that out because originally I compared myself to someone that had all of the accolades and connections and went through different programs. I was the person that was denied the program to be a part of it.
Yeah.
I was the person that wasn't smart enough to go to school. I was a person that was struggling in those areas, but invertedly not being able to be in those spaces or do those things created an opportunity for me to go inside and figure out what am I going to do to survive.
Yeah.
Because I don't have access to the things that I felt were going to carry me in my artistry. Before I knew it, I had to learn how to write an invoice. I remember the first time I wrote an invoice.
Yes.
Guess what I thought an invoice was? I really thought it had something to do with my voice. Because I never heard...
I use my out voice.
Because it's going to sound funny, but if you didn't grow up in an environment where you're your own boss in a contract, you never heard the term invoice.
Yeah.
And you feel embarrassed to ask somebody, what is an invoice? So when they say, send me an invoice, I'm like, I think it means my voice. Like, they want me to clarify that I am going to show up and take pictures. I didn't do it, but I almost did.
Yeah.
It sounds silly, but it's genuine that there's so many different things that people have not been exposed to.
Yeah.
I understand that once I understood how to create an invoice, I began understanding that spaces have budgets set aside specifically for someone to fill that space. And when your name is in the hat and it consistently circulates, eventually someone's going to reach out to you again to fill that space with a budget that they have set aside for someone to do what it is someone's going to do.
But that someone also needs to fit a specific, because it has to be someone that does blank.
Correct.
And if you don't identify as that thing,
correct,
I'm a poet, I'm not a storyteller. Oh, I can't.
Right.
I can't be in that conversation.
Right. So yeah, but wait a second now. Hold on.
Okay.
There are poets that would consistently be selected to do a poem.
Yeah.
So it can happen. But I think for whatever reason, those poets were seen as a poet that spaces knew that is someone that we trust. That is someone we know that can perform, that takes the art form serious. And when they show up, they're going to give us what we envision. So I believe it's very possible for poets to have those opportunities.
Yeah.
I think it's also a portion of understanding the business model and knowing when to show up outside of the business model as well, and where else you can go beyond your space that you created with, whether it be a fellow poets or a space that you feel comfortable in. The conversation about alternatives. I only make it to those spaces because of what I'm doing when I'm not in those spaces.
Yeah.
Something has to happen for me to work and practice, to be seen, to be heard, to eventually make it to a space where someone is like, all right, I think I want you to be the poet for this event, right? So, is it cool if we segue into why I'm starting to embrace? So once again, I'm not someone that has that deep desire or connection to be respected as a poet or even seen as a poet, but I do like to share when opportunities presents itself. So I was reached out to by, her name is Julia Lynn Walker. Her mother was Ann B. Walker. Ann B. Walker lived to be 102 years old. So for her 103rd birthday, as they were putting the service together, her daughter reached out to me and said, would you like to do a poem? We don't have a lot of time. We're giving everyone a chance to speak, but I would like for you to be a part of this because of the storytelling aspect as a videographer. In the time that I spent with Ambi Walker, it came to my book signing. So her daughter said something interesting to me. She said, I know that you do video and photography, but I know you as a writer. And that kind of blew my mind, where I was like, oh, damn. She's comprehending like the cross-pollination of my idea and concept of storytelling. So she wasn't asking me to come as a photographer. She was asking me to come as a speaker, but not only as a speaker, but as a poet. I could have immediately said in that moment, like, I don't really do poetry like that. I don't share poetry like that. But when she said it, I'm like, well, I ain't going to say no. And I think I have something to say that I believe people would enjoy once I shared it. So as the service is happening, I'm just looking around the room. There's actually quite a few poets in the room. And I'm sitting with some prestigious, well-known individuals within the community that are also speakers. So I didn't necessarily get imposter syndrome, but I started thinking, people don't know me as a poet. I'm not 100% certain if this is fitting for this situation. I'm very selective of how I show up because I feel I should always do what makes sense in how to tell the story the best way possible. That's why I say storyteller, and I don't give myself just one label. But I got on stage and I had did the poem. After I did the poem, even the poets themselves said,
that boy rhymes.
They said, that was good. So that was shocking. But people within the audience were like, yo, that was amazing. Do you have copies that I could have of that? And I'm like, no, I don't have nothing prepared for anyone. The family began asking me, do you have like a copy of that I could have? And I'm like, I mean, I could make it, but I didn't have any intentions on sharing or giving this away.
Yeah.
I don't think like that when it comes to my poetry. One, because it rhymes. Who the hell wants this? Right? And then two, it's just not how I show up as a poet. I get a call from Miss Julia Lynn, and she says, everyone has been asking about the poem. What I would like is for you to create a print of the poem. And what I would like to do is take that poem and frame it and send it to everyone that showed up as a gift. I said, dang. Okay. So this is the very first copy in print of it.
First copy, yeah.
Very first copy.
Do you mind?
You fine.
Hey.
So for me, as a poet, I'm done. I've reached the mountaintop. This was the best thing that I could ever experience in my lifetime as a poet. I write based off of pure emotion. That was pure emotion to showcase my connection to Miss Ambi Walker, to talk about her life, and to give people something to feel. And the fact that not only was it embraced by the poets, the family, and pretty much everyone that was present, it has a life beyond me just writing it and no longer thinking about it. It's something that I could actually share with people. And it's been approved of by the person closest to the person that I wrote this poem about.
Yeah.
So
it's not just something you share, it's something other people share, which is the most, that's what artists want.
And for me, if I did anything in poetry, this is what I look for. On stage is fine. Being respected is fine. Having opportunities are fine. But based off of what poetry means to me, when I created, it fit perfectly for this space. And not only did it fit, it was requested to continue to have life somehow. If I never do another poem another day in my life, I'm good. Because that was something I didn't anticipate,
Right.
something I didn't think about, something I was called on to do, and it happened. But this also made me think to myself, where else could I do this? Where else could I take pure emotion in rhyming form?
Stick that in there.
I had to make sure I threw that in there. In rhyming form, and make it mean something.
Yeah.
Because there has not been one time, I had to recognize this. There really hasn't been one time where I did perform where someone came up to me and said, that was disgusting. They may have thought it, but the person that thought it has never came up to me and said that.
I will tell you next time.
Thank you. But this it just made me feel like, man, I wonder if I could do this again somewhere else. And now I'm at the point where I'm ready to begin sharing my creations. And I'm not interested. I don't necessarily care if people embrace it or not. I'm more so interested in sharing it and connecting with those that may feel something from what I create. I'm not going to be bothered if people don't care about it or if they're disgusted by it because it's rhyming. But I feel it. I feel it as of now. I never felt it in my life. But at this point, I feel it inside of me to begin doing this more often and to also be in spaces with community while doing this.
In some ways, this aspect of the it's come up as a joke, but this aspect of the rhyming poetry and the fact that it creates repulsion.
It does
from people like that, but that's anytime like you can find something that generates that level of disgust among people, it's probably something to actually kind of lean into more.
Why so let me become the host for a second.
Okay.
I know you to be a critic of poetry. I don't know if you made anyone cry.
I have.
Oh damn.
That
wasn't a joke. Damn. Okay.
But we have to understand. That's not a fair question because it's not understanding why.
Okay, I got you. So, why would you say, as a poet that critiques poetry, for me to lean into that more?
Got you. So some of that is a good soundbite, but some of it there's truth into it. It's not that you want to lean into disgust. It's that you want to lean into what generates raw, base emotion. Disgust is one of the base emotions. Anger, fear, happiness, disgust, sadness.
Right.
I think that there's one other one I'm missing, but there's a base. These are base emotions. A lot of times they're associated with like facial expressions and things like that. It's like as soon as someone hears something that generates one of those emotions, even if it's just for like a flicker, there's usually a facial response. And then a lot of people like mask it because we're adults and we've been conditioned to hide stuff. And that's the thing. We've gone through a lot of conditioning. We talked earlier about systems because it's uncouth to wear your emotions so outwardly.
Right.
You know, even in American culture, I work with a lot of international students, and I'm talking with students that are even way more repressed culturally. There's a lot of cultures around the world where it's like you don't show anything. You know, in North America, we do convey a lot of emotions, but there's also still a lot of masking going on. Correct. So when you can find something that genuinely leads to emotion, that's a path to lead farther down because you went past the mask. You went past all the conditioning. You struck something with someone. That's hard to do. So don't let that moment go past. It's something to lean more into, if anything, because we communicate in ways to become invisible. We hide ourselves.
That's deep.
Right. Okay. Right. This is part of, I know that it keeps coming up, but this is literally part of the system. The system wants you to abide by a system. The system encourages you to follow and to not stick out. To stick out is risky. From an evolutionary perspective, if I'm doing something that no one else in the group is doing, I'm getting left behind for the wolves or the bears or the weather to take out. No one's going to help me, right? But we don't live in that time period anymore. Right. There's also enough of us where you can find other people that resonate with what you're doing. I don't want everyone to follow me. I want the right people to follow me. Facts. Facts. And so I think by tapping into the emotional stuff, you're forcing people to pick a side. You don't like rhyming poetry? Well, you're not going to like me. Right? Because that's what I do. I do rhyming poetry.
More, like I said, I've heard the story,
So, good. Mm-hmm. But for all of them, there's going to eventually be that one person that's like, oh, I rhyme too. I haven't met anyone else that does that.
Correct. And I feel like because I enjoy all poetry, but
I don't.
Wait a second. So all right. Let me talk about it from my perspective.
All right.
It's like. So experimental art, or what's it called when you like squiggle lines?
Sure.
In a story has more purpose to it than actual art does, but the art is the vehicle to tell the story. Mm-hmm. And it becomes art for like $1 trillion. Mm-hmm. Sometimes I'm like, what is this? But then I'm like, well, art is supposed to be subjective, isn't it? So if people are embracing it, and this person feels like they have a connection to it, and it's working, I guess it's something there.
I think the thing is that it's okay to not like something and to admit it and just move on. It's okay to be like, I don't like this.
Right.
It's not for me. Like, again, to call up like Seth Godin, like if you write a book and someone leaves a 1-star review, what does that 1-star review mean? It means the book's not for them. That's all that means. It doesn't mean write a different book. It just means it's not for you. That's all it means.
So I kind of went through the whole process with writing my book. I'm like, dang, I'm really not an author like that. I know people that do this. They live and breathe writing. But I was ready to get this story out of me, and the way it came out of me was through writing. I could have easily done a documentary or just shared some pictures of the different children that I worked with, but I thought I have to write this in story form and possibly transition into something else as time passes. But this is the best way for me to tell this story.
Yeah.
And there were quite a few things wrong with the book, but anything that was wrong with the book, the people that told me that something was wrong with the book read the book. They went through the book. Yeah. They spent time with the book. And even in the process of the things that I felt were like grammatical errors or printing issues and whatnot, it did not destroy the process of creating the book and having a finished product that I could put out into the world, look at, and see have life beyond me just finishing it and going back to doing something else.
Yeah.
Same thing with this. I kind of got like something in me is waking up to actually continue doing this versus just writing and then going back to minding my business.
But if you had stuck with the traditional form, you wouldn't have done it because you're like, oh, but I'm not doing it the way they want.
I would have if I wrote poetry in a traditional form or trying to please or appease.
Yeah,
I would compare myself. I would be worried about Geoff critiquing. I would be looking at Hanif and his poetry and trying to emulate what he's doing I would be waiting for Scott Woods to critique it and say, add this, take this away. I would look up Barbara Fant videos and see how she had structured her lines. I would look up Ajane and try to understand how she is putting her pieces together. I would not, because I have an immense amount of respect for all of them, because I've been able to document their stories through my form of storytelling with video and photography. But if I showed up in a traditional sense, or the way they say I'm supposed to as a poet, I would struggle, and I would probably feel jealousy.
Yeah.
I would feel anger, frustration. I would feel like I'm
I think
not
that's
good
logical.
enough. Imposter syndrome. I would probably go crazy.
Yeah.
Thinking about how can I make my stuff just as good as somebody else's. I'd be afraid to go to open mics and whatnot. But
So
I would feel like I wouldn't have a place compared to what I feel in this moment. I feel like what you've been saying, without me even saying it, I feel confident that I can carve my own space out.
And I mean, and if you want discussion to go more places, I'm just kind of thinking about time. But the central lesson I'm getting from this is that by adhering to a system, you're holding yourself to standards that the leaders in your industry, which isn't exactly the same thing as the system, but they're connected, may not have held themselves to. Okay. The person on the stage probably didn't get to the stage using the path that I think they did.
Correct.
Which, on the one hand, can be frustrating because it's like, okay, if I want to do my career in poetry, I have to publish poems, then do my chapbook, then do my full length, then get my MFA, then do this, which is a path. A path doesn't necessarily guarantee the destination that you want. Conversely, when we start understanding that it is impossible for me to follow anyone else's path.
Correct.
They didn't have the parents I did. They didn't have the background I did. They didn't have the income I did. They didn't have the school I did. They didn't have the friends I did. They didn't have all those things. So it's impossible for me to follow the path. So why am I trying to go on their path? The more that we can embrace the uniqueness of our own journey as artists, and in fact, the uniqueness of our own journey as artists may take us beyond definitions of genre.
Right.
The more that we can actually achieve, the more, one, we can actually understand what our artistic goals actually are.
Correct. And I would say that's the whole reason I'm here today. I rarely share when I'm about to embark on a journey.
Oh.
I keep that to myself. I know that there's been quite a few people that wonder, like, how do you do the things you do? How do you get this opportunity? Or how is this coming about for Donte, right?
And I think it's the wrong question.
It is. It's very wrong.
Because even if you answer it, it's like
you can't comprehend. You can't comprehend it.
It's like even if you could, you couldn't do it. It's like there's no real point in telling, because like you already have your own unique thing going. Like you can't do what I'm doing. Just like I can't do what you're doing.
Right. At all.
Like everyone's already like, if you're a poet listening to this, you already have more success in your own poetry journey than like Hanif would have in your poetry journey. You know? And I know that you may not like to hear that, but like we're on different paths. You're already doing, I assume this is, I'm gonna drop some, I know we talked about weddings already, but like the best marriage advice I have, so my wife, we've had 11 years this year. The best marriage advice I have is that you have to assume your partner's doing their best. You have to assume that.
Right.
Because if you don't assume that, well, where is that going to take you?
Right.
you have to assume that people are doing their best. You have to assume that every artist in their journey is doing the best that they can in their own artistic journey.
Right. And I believe for any poet that has found success, they may not feel that the way other people perceive it. They may be living in it, but I don't think any of us are saying like, "Oh yeah, I'm successful. I'm doing great."
No, we're always looking for the next thing.
Yeah, we're looking for, all right, I did this. Let me get ready for what's next, or let me keep myself active.
Yeah, you have
I don't have to wait for someone to call on me to keep myself active.
We have to love the process, not the result.
That, I would say, that is the secret to my success.
Yeah.
That's why I meant Matthias, like what Matthias is doing right now. If I'm positive y'all probably know Matthias. But Matthias, I have to say this. He's doing things that could become residual income. That could become books later on. That could become plays later on. He's getting all of that out of him. Some things are getting into film festivals, some things are not. But he's not necessarily thinking about being the most successful or getting denied. He is putting work in. He's connecting with people. He's going to have so many things out in the atmosphere that he's probably going to forget when something comes back and be like, oh, damn, I forgot I did do that.
Yeah.
And a new opportunity comes from that. What I try to do is plant seeds in different spaces.
Yeah.
And as I revisit those spaces, I can see if the seed is growing or if it's not. My process is to keep planting seeds. Not to watch one grow and then monitor how it's growing and think about if it rains too much and this one seed kind of starts to, or this plant starts to slant a little bit. I'm like, damn, it's not perfect like it once was. And then somebody comes uprooted and I feel like my life is over because I put so much into that one plant when I planted seeds in so many spaces. I like to plant seeds. I don't like just watching one damn plant grow. I like plants. So I'm going to keep planting these damn seeds.
Yeah.
But I have made the decision with myself that I am going to do this. Not because someone has told me to do it. Not because I feel like I want to be embraced or I want to be respected. It's simply because I want to do it. I feel like that one moment was a wake-up call for me.
Yeah.
And I'm prepared to continue doing that regardless of who hears it or who doesn't. Because I've went most of my life never thinking about anyone ever hearing it. So if one person does like it, I've succeeded. One human being. If a cat meows, my stray cat, I've succeeded. I want to do this. And that is where I'm content and comfortable and happy.
Yeah.
I hope that every person that dives into any form of artistry can separate doing it for them and doing it for someone else. What you do for yourself can be for someone else, but if it's only for someone else, you will never feel like you've done anything that feels right to you. You'll never find your path. You'll never feel content. You'll never feel embraced or validated. It's always going to be a fight. It's always going to be comparison. But when you find a way to do it for you, if those feelings do come up, you can navigate through them fairly quick without harboring on wondering why isn't it happening for me the way it is for other people. And that's a soundbite right there.
I would drink to that. Yeah, that's good. Yes.
I really would try. That's a soundbite right there.
I guess my final thing would be one thing that I don't like to do is like if someone asks who you are, people typically respond by like, "Oh, I'm a teacher," or "I'm a doctor," or and the problem with that is it kills the conversation. Where do you go with that? You know. Versus instead of defining yourself by a name, instead of saying I'm a poet, I'm a painter, I'm a writer, changing it instead to like the action. Focus on the verb. Like, I'm not a poet. I'm a person who poets. You know, because suddenly when you say it as the noun, we talked earlier about all the archetypes and things like that. They all come labeling on, and it's very limiting. But when you keep it as a verb, it opens, it expands, you know. And I think that the more we can expand ourselves, I'm a pronunciation coach, and a big phrase you hear in the pronunciation industry is like accent reduction. It's a lot of reduction. It's very negative. Reduction. I don't think I'm taking away anything from my students. I'm doing the opposite. I'm giving them another option. I'm not saying don't do this. I'm saying do that, and also do this. Right. You can always go back to how you talked before. Correct. But now I could give you also an option B. It's not reduction, it's expansion. Correct. It's action, it's accent expansion. And I think the more we can expand ourselves, the way you're expanding yourself, the more we're going to be able to take advantage of the opportunities that come. Right. Cool?
Agreed.
All right.
Yeah, I'm going to keep rhyming.
Let's go.
Let's rhyme to that.
Is there anything else you want to touch on, or does that get it?
No, that's pretty much it. I just, once again, I hope that every person that has something that they feel or they're thinking, don't let the voices in your head or what you think other people expect stop you from creating.
Yeah.
In most cases, there's something that someone is interested in or will value that you could create, but it's easy to stop yourself because you're thinking they won't embrace it or they won't believe in it. That's how people commit to a lifetime of dismissing themselves and not even giving themselves a chance because they think someone else wouldn't. But at the end of the day, you have to sometimes go through failure. You might get laughed at. You might be the disgusting rhyming poet. But if it feels right to you, you have to give yourself a chance with it. That's the least you can do. Just see what happens. If it's going to be good, it's going to be good. If it's going to be bad, it's going to be bad. But give it a chance to live and see if that's the only day that it lives. If it's not, it lives another day and it takes on another form. But it's all up to you, however you want to do that. We're all in different spaces in life. We all have different tolerance levels. We all have different ideas of what feels good, what's right, what does success look like. You have to be able to define all of those things and do what feels right to you without stopping yourself. Because we're never going to fully agree on everything. So that's where I'm at with it.
Yeah. Is it okay if we end it there then?
That's it. Oh, I was about to drink.
That's what I'm saying. I interrupted you.
You had to catch me before I could
my bad.